Hi and welcome to Insights with Nandu. In one of my earlier videos, I promised I would talk about leadership. Now, leadership is a huge topic. We can talk for days about this. I'm just going to give you a few short tips. Hopefully, that will pique your curiosity and set you on a journey to search for more ways to develop your leadership skills. So if you enjoy watching this video, please do like, please do subscribe, and please do comment at the end of the video. So let me start by asking a question, and it's part of my own leadership journey development. About 20 plus years ago, I was enrolled in a leadership course with the London Business School. And there was Professor Rob Goffey, who actually wrote a letter to me, to each participant individually. And he said, "Dear Nandu, why should anyone be led by you?" So I got the questionnaire and it kind of floored me because I said, oh my God, I've never thought about it that way. Why should anyone be led by me instead of him or her? So that is a very big question that you need to answer for yourself before you can start really to develop yourself as a leader in a conscious way. So for me, the starting journey was understanding followership. Yeah, a leader is not a leader if nobody is following him, right? So you do need to have followers. So what do followers look for? So I got a book on followership as well, and I read a few articles. I'm just kind of synthesizing a few things. The first thing that people look for is they look for a sense of belongingness. They belong to something. Then followers are looking for a sense of significance, a sense of importance. You matter to the organization. Next, they are looking for rewards of some sort, and incentives and reward structures are an important part of this. Finally, they are looking for some kind of development of themselves. And most importantly, they're looking to be inspired. They're looking for a buzz. So saying to your followers, let's go and climb to the 5th floor of a building is not half as inspiring as saying, let's go and climb this highest peak in the range in front of us. That people believe it. The challenge has to be significant, so people doubt whether they will be able to do it, but they trust you and they trust the learning, and when they do it, they feel very good about themselves. So that's the followership model. Understand that. Understand yourself as a follower before you start to develop yourself as a leader. As you embark on your leadership journey, look at Maxwell's 5 levels model. There are several levels that Maxwell talks about. You can Google this and understand where are you situated. Are you in a leadership position simply because of hierarchy? Are you in a leadership position because you've built a personal relationship with the people? Are you in a leadership position because you're delivering results? Are you in a leadership position because you're developing people and you're helping them reach a different level? Or are you in a leadership level where you're inspiring and actually transforming the company and society? These are just different levels of leadership. He calls, you can call them level 1 through level 5 leadership. Jim Collins in his book, Good to Great, talks about his definition of what a level 5 leader is and talks about really great companies being led by level 5 leadership. Leadership development is a journey. I personally believe you operate out of several of these levels as you go through your career, and the mix may change as you go through. An important insight that I'll leave with you. I was reading a book. It's a book on New Age spirituality. And one of the comments it had in there was the following. It said, the true teacher is not the one with the most students, but the one who creates the most teachers. The true leader is not the one with the most followers, but the one who creates the most leaders. And this is a great summary definition of what level 5 leadership is all about. Are you building leaders who are going to be smart enough and strong enough to replace you and even do a better job than you at some point in time? Having understood these concepts of followership and leadership and the different levels of leadership, go with some 360-degree instruments, talk to friends, talk to coaches, understand what are your strengths, understand what are your weaknesses. Both are very important. And what is also important to know is the default many of us tend to make, assumption that we tend to make is, I should focus on my weaknesses and try and fix my weaknesses. Not true. Sometimes the best way to address a weakness is by building a team of complementary skill sets, especially with people who are strong in the areas where you are weak. You should be able to play to your strengths and use your team to help plug the areas where you are weak. Don't try to be Superman or Superwoman. Try to use a team to make the team collectively fill all the areas of leadership that need to be filled. Next, understand that leadership is situational. You need to develop the ability to sense the situation and flex your leadership style depending on the situation. That's why I talked about you may have to operate out of multiple levels of leadership. For example, when the building is on fire, you don't want to be laissez-faire and give people the decision when they leave the room and when they leave the building and how they leave the building. You'll be fairly directive, saying get out of the house because the building is on fire. On the other hand, when you're trying to ideate and create a new technology, create a disruptive business model, you would like to put people in a room, give them deadlines, but give them a fair amount of flexibility in deciding how to create the next disruption. So leadership is situational. What you have to do is to develop the ability to flex your leadership style depending on the situation. Remember, common mistake, leadership does not equate to liking. If you're operating out of the second level that Maxwell is talking about, only the relationships part of it, then it's a common mistake that people make to equate liking with leadership. Leadership does not mean being liked. It does mean being respected. It does mean, it does not always equate to liking. It does equate to decisiveness, effective communication, empathy, and taking responsibility. These are important facets of leadership. So how do you do this? And all the stuff I'm sharing from you is through my readings and through my self-reflection as I watched myself develop. And looking back in hindsight, you can see wonderful lessons and patterns in this. The next step then, work with people who know you. Use the 360-degree instruments, the feedback instruments on your strengths and your weaknesses. Use the theoretical understanding you have. Get a coach or work with people who really know you. Start developing a personal leadership model. Understand and know what are your core values and beliefs. What are your core competencies? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what are the behaviors that you manifest that people are able to see? And then be aware that this understanding of who you are is a starting point to developing yourself as a leader, because you lead out of who you are. One of the most important characteristics in leadership is authenticity. The moment people figure out that you are not being authentic, you are trying to play a role, they'll very quickly lose trust in you. And then you as a leader really don't have followers anymore in that kind of a situation. You always lead out of who you are. So when you decide to change some of your leadership style or characteristics or behaviors, remember that you cannot change who you are as a leader without fundamentally changing who you are as a person. So that's why you need to be aware of what are your core beliefs and values, what are your strengths, weaknesses, and core competencies, and coming out of that, what are your behaviors? If you want to change your behaviors, you might want to go into the detail, the depth to find out what is triggering those behaviors and see if there's something you can do over there. You can't always change some of those core beliefs. And that is where I said earlier, surround yourself with people who complement your team skills. In the team, who complement your skills, and then work at developing the relationship with them, which allows you to step back when required and allow somebody else to step forward. That is very important. That's part of the skill of being a leader. The most important skill, eventually, that Professor Goffey shared, the most important tip is, in addition to being authentic and leading out of you, who you are, develop the skill to be yourself as a leader. More be yourself, not try to be somebody else, but with skill. And the skill means focus on your strengths, be aware of your weaknesses, compensate for those weaknesses with people around you, and understand that leadership is situational. And you need to be able to flex your leadership style depending on the situation and operate at several different levels depending on who you're talking to, when you're talking to, and what the context is in which that leadership behavior is required. So as you embark on this journey, this is just a short primer to stimulate your interest, to get you interested, to read more, to talk more, to understand more, to take courses. But several universities offer courses. Indian School of Business, where I teach, offers these kinds of courses. London Business School, where I teach as well, offers leadership courses. Several universities and several training institutes, several organizations. So take these courses. Every course you take is going to force you to think, to reflect on what are the underlying changes that you need to make, what are your underlying strengths, and that will enable you to be a more effective leader. So I hope you enjoyed this short primer to start you on this journey. And if you liked the video, please click like, please subscribe, please comment, and please do share the video with your friends.